Has this ever happened to you? You've wanted to draw, you've sat down to watch a how to draw video to get some input, some inspiration, and suddenly it's an hour later, you've watched 5 or 6 videos, and now, well, you just don't have any time to draw. How can I have some control over this? Let me give you some thoughts that I think will help you make the most out of the videos that you choose to watch. And at the end, to come at this from a different direction, I'll just outline briefly some of the problems, some of the risks, some of the dangers we face if we don't. Now, presumably, we're watching a how to draw video to help us get our drawing in some way to a better place. The question that's most important to know the answer to, and it's one that, given that, surprisingly, we often haven't really thought out, is what place am I wanting to get to? Let me suggest some possibilities. Consider, what medium do I want to become good at using? Do I want to be able to draw beautifully in charcoal? Do I want to be able to do wonderful pen drawings? Do I want to use a combination of different media? Do I want to put watercolor over my line drawings? There are so many possibilities, and if we have this creative streak for drawing in us, they can all seem really interesting. But we can't become skilled at everything at once, so we have to narrow it down. What is it that right now, because of course I can always change this in the future if I want, but right now, what would I really love to become really good at? That's a good start. Secondly, what drawing subject do I want to be able to draw well? Again, there are different challenges with different subjects and different skills required, possibly in a different order or to a different degree with different subjects. But having not just a set material that I draw with, but also drawing similar sorts of things that present similar sorts of challenges consistently will help me work out how to draw to, if you like, meet those challenges, to draw those challenges in an effective and satisfying way. But if I'm chopping and changing from one very subject-specific challenge to another, I'm not getting the chance to develop skills in that area. Next thing we need to ask is, what type of style am I wanting to develop? Not where I'm at right now, but where do I want to be with my drawing of these subjects with this medium? Do I want a really detailed, structured, accurate drawing? Or do I want something that's very loose and gestural in its mark making? Do I want something that shows all the detail, or do I want something that suggests more than it actually draws in a very detailed way everything that's in my scene? Do I want my drawings to look real in some way, or do I want to capture some creative semi-abstraction in them, or do I want to go for photorealism? So what sort of visual distinctiveness am I wanting to see in my drawing? The overall style. This will help me choose videos that will take me to that place. What size am I wanting to draw? Am I wanting to draw murals or miniatures or something in between? Because a lot of how we think and our approach and our techniques will change depending on the size of our finished drawing. And what drawing technique am I wanting to use? Do I want to get my photo and draw it up in a 4x4 grid and draw the same grid on my paper and in pencil to do an outline that I then use for my finished drawing, whether the finished drawing is in pencil or whether I put ink over the top? At any rate, I erase all those grid lines and those guidelines or roughing outlines at some stage before I lock into the finish marks on the paper. Do I want to draw freehand, whether it's in pencil or in pen, where every line I put on the paper I leave at the end? Do I plan to use a ruler or not? Or do I plan to use some other mechanical device, some sort of projection or light box or whatever? How am I wanting my drawings to be drawn in a more processed technique way? Because the more specifically we can visualize where we're wanting to get with our drawings at some stage in the future, the more accurately, the more easily, the more effectively we can look at a creator, we can look at a channel, we can look at individual videos and more quickly, more easily assess, is this going to be helpful and more easily assess, is this going to be relevant? Is this going to deal with drawing things and in a way that lead me to that place I have in my mind where I'm imagining at this point I would like to get with my drawing? To put it simply, is this video going in the same direction as I am? And so is it worth my going along with it for the time it's going to take for the journey? And let me say, the biggest problem is not badly produced, badly drawn, boring, dull videos. The biggest problem, the biggest risk is going to be the videos that are very entertaining just in themselves. They've just been so beautifully, carefully, and skillfully put together. Or possibly even a bigger risk will be the videos that aren't particularly well done, but they're full of interesting information about drawing and the drawing process in some measure. And yet, if I'm honest, while the content may be interesting, it's not actually what I'm doing. It's not how I'm drawing. It's not going to take me to the sort of drawing I'm wanting to do. The interesting can actually be the enemy of the necessary or the useful. And, well, everything takes up our time, and we all only get 24 hours a day. And even if I'm watching content about drawing that I find really interesting, if it's really not taking me to where I'm wanting to go with my drawing at this point, as far as I can see, then I'm really watching it more for entertainment than actually to teach me what I'm wanting to learn from my drawing. And entertainment versus learning is always the tension. It's not that we can't watch drawing videos for entertainment, but we need to be aware that that's what we're choosing to do at that point, so that we still do find the videos that we need to find for my learning, my drawing development in the direction that I'm wanting to go. But watch the wrong videos, and this is what we risk happening to our drawing experience. Firstly, we simply use up all our time watching, and then we don't have either the time or the mental energy to actually do any drawing. Or in some ways, we've watched the videos to escape the pressure of drawing, but to somehow still feel like I've progressed my drawing development, when in fact I probably haven't. Or if we watch a video that's at a level that's too advanced for where we are, and that can be a problem when it can be hard to know for sure what the level is just from the title or the thumbnail. We can end up feeling that we can't draw, that we'll never be able to do what we're seeing in the video, and that can end up making us discouraged rather than encouraged. Can I say one of the characteristics of a good video for me to watch is one that actually enthuses me to have a go. One where at least I've either got the feeling that I can do that, or, well, I want to risk it because it seems so possible. And that's probably going to come from the fact that it's relevant in terms of the materials it's using, the sort of subjects that it's demonstrating with, and the level of difficulty that these things are pitched at, and whether it's done in a way that's teaching, that's explaining, that's actually empowering you to understand the process, so that you can not just copy it for this example of the video, but you can use that understanding then when you then go to do your own drawings from your own references, where it's going to be the understanding of the process, not being able to reproduce the process of the video, that's going to matter. Another big danger, or the bigger if we don't realize it, is that all videos aren't compatible. There are different ways we can draw. There are different ways of thinking and of starting and of progressing our drawings. And in the end, the one that I'll end up using is the one that works in best with my temperament, my feelings, the place I want to end up. And the problem for me will be that not every video, therefore, is in line with where I'm going and how I'm getting there. So it's going to be confusing when I start to get contradictory input, but I don't realize it's not necessarily so obvious that it is contradictory. But the result with all of these is that I end up feeling confused, and that will show in my drawing. That will lead me to be not sure of what to do, of how to start or progress or finish a drawing, because different videos are telling me different things. And I think the end result of this confusion and of possibly all of these risks that we run if we watch videos that aren't going to be as helpful for our drawing development as others is that in the end, we start to watch the video fairly passively, and at best, we try and copy what the artist is doing. When a good teaching video will be leading us to understand what's happening, understand the process that's going on from the reference to the marks on the paper, from the first mark to the final mark, to understand the possibilities, to understand what questions the artist is asking, and to understand some of the options and how they look on the paper by the end. That's how we learn to draw. That's how we get what we need to have to be able to walk away from the videos and create our own drawings, increasingly in the way we can imagine them to be and we desire them to be, because we've learned how to use the tools our own way, creatively, for our own drawing. I think the final thing that we need to regularly do when we're trying to work out, am I watching the best videos for my drawing journey and development, is simply, are my drawings improving? Because if my input is a good match for where I'm at and where I'm wanting to go, it should at some stage start to show itself in my output. Good teaching, whether I like it or not, will start to influence how I think and therefore how I draw. So it should give me things I can see in my drawings to some degree at some stage. And if I can't see that, then possibly the videos I've been watching are not a good match for where I'm wanting to end up. And so they're not giving me anything that gives direction to what I do. And so in the end, I can't or I don't use them. And so my drawings keep looking the same. But look, in the end, whatever videos you do or don't watch, and whatever benefit you think they are or aren't giving you, make sure you have fun. I'll see you next time. Bye.